Welcome back to Unlocked Mental Performance, Physical Results. I'm your host, Coach Eric, and today we're going to dive into constructive arrogance. Now that's a tough one when you first hear it, right? Constructive. That sounds good. All right, Coach, we're on board with that. Arrogance. Whoa. Pump the brakes. Hey, we're not about being cocky jerks here. You're not going to tell us to be cocky jerks, are you, Coach Eric? I am not. But this is a term I heard from a coach recently that I thought we really ought to dive into. And I talked a little bit about it in my video short, but we're going to get into it here on the podcast and really talk about what it means. And the background here is, imagine a coach talking to a player that's your classic quiet worker. I'm talking about the dude who's first to practice, always in the gym, gets back from games and goes and hits off the tee. The guy every coach says they want, and yet is frequently overlooked for the dude who's working their butt off, but doing it loudly. The guy who's pounding their chest. The guy who is a little bit more flamboyant. And as a result, gets a little bit more attention. And as a result, gets a little bit more playtime. Gets a little more looks. And so you got this guy who every coach says they want, who's not getting as much attention, but is as good or better. How does he get the attention? Well, that is where the concept of constructive arrogance comes into play. I'm talking about a mental performance concept that's going to blend confidence with strategic self-promotion. Think about that for a moment. Strategic self-promotion. This is about being confident and letting people know you're confident. It's not about being boastful. It's certainly not about being dismissive of the players around you. You want to be projecting your belief in your abilities in a way that energizes your performance, that energizes your teammates, that energizes the guy taking notes, and it commands respect. The key here for constructive arrogance is it's got to be authentic. You've got to have real confidence. You've got to believe in yourself. And that means it has to be rooted in preparation. It has to be built on skill. And it has to show the experience of you being him. This can't be empty bravado, guys. If you're going to have constructive arrogance, you've got to build up the skill base to go with the self-confidence. It's got to be deliberate. You're building a persona. You got to think of it almost like you're an actor. You look at professional wrestling. You've got guys that were in the NFL. You've got guys who are professional athletes in other sports. You got Olympic wrestlers. You've got guys who are bodybuilders. You got all these dudes that come together and they have to put on a show for their audience. And you can picture that mentality. And you can see how that has spilled over into other sports. You see it in basketball. You see it in soccer. You see it in baseball. Across all sports, you're starting to see that bravado, that salesmanship. You see the bits, right? So you have to have a deliberate persona. You need to adapt like a performer, this bold, assertive identity. You need to boost your visibility, and when you do that, you're going to give yourself a psychological edge because you're going to become that persona. You're going to fill that void in your portfolio. You have to have resilience because when you get bold like this, when you puff up and you show that you're him, when you hit the bumps in the road, they hurt a little more because it calls into question the persona. Is it fake? Are you really this guy, or are you just living a lie? So you have to have resilience. And having this persona and becoming this persona will help you stay mentally tough and focused, especially when the stakes are at the highest. Because if you can fall back on the big you, the best you, in other formats, we call that the big you. When you start talking about the ABCs, when you're starting to picture you at your best, and we like you to give that a name. So it's not just that your name is Joe. No. Best you is Jethro. You're a rebel. You're strong. All right. So when you're filling that persona and you're identifying as the beast, when you're in that persona and you're identifying as Ace, now you've built up your own personal resilience because you are who that is. Does that make sense? I hope so. If it doesn't, take a step back and go through your ABCs and find your big you. Find your best version of you. Understand it's not going to be perfect. Understand there's always going to be room for growth there. But you need to be able to identify that player you want to be, right? And then you need to have controlled intensity. Controlled intensity is like controlled chaos. Controlled intensity is the assertiveness without recklessness. Say that again. You're assertive, but not reckless. You use this to elevate your performance, to make you the best you, to play beyond that formerly viewed cap of 100% that really wasn't 100%, but it felt like it was 100% because it was uncomfortable to play beyond that speed. You know what I'm talking about, that false ceiling that you're trying to break through. Yes, the controlled intensity gives you this assertiveness, this boldness that's not reckless. And you use it to elevate your performance, not to alienate teammates, not to be dismissive, not to push down those around you. No, you don't climb the ladder on their backs. You build the ladder with your work ethic. You build the ladder with your assertiveness. You build the ladder with your skill set. And that's what you climb. That's the controlled intensity we're looking for. So, it sounds like arrogance is a bad thing, but that's because you only ever focus on that destructive arrogance. And it's out there. It's out there. Constructive arrogance is good. Destructive arrogance is bad. Well, geez, Coach Eric, I didn't know that. Destructiveness is bad. All right. Maybe that's too obvious. Maybe I don't need to tell you this part. Maybe you already know it, but we're going to do it anyway because I like to talk. So let's talk about some different traits. Confidence level. Got to start there. That is the core of this entire thing. Your confidence level. If you're being constructive, that's a high confidence. And it's high not because of false bravado. It's high because you earned it. You put in the time. You are the grinder. When it's destructive, it's inflated. It's fragile. It's self-entitled. It's weak. It crumbles when the persona is challenged instead of rising to the call. So your confidence level, when you have constructive arrogance, you've earned that. It's there. It's solid. You can take a hit and keep on going. Self-awareness. Now look, self-awareness is critical to mental performance because you have to know who you are. You have to understand your strengths, your weaknesses, your growth opportunities. You have to know where you're at your best, when you're at your best. But most importantly, you have to know how to maximize yourself when you're not at your best. So you have to have a strong understanding of your limits. And when you have constructive arrogance, you have that understanding. And you don't view those limits as brick walls. You view those limits as goals to beat. But you play within them till you can beat them. When you have destructive arrogance, when you're cocky in that jerk way, you deny weakness. You're like, nah, I'm the best. I'm always the best. And that denial of weakness doesn't give you the goals you need to beat out those weaknesses, to grow past those weaknesses. It just makes you cocky. And it makes you easy to beat once the holes in your game are identified. So self-awareness is critical if you're going to have the constructive side, the positive side of arrogance. But coach, what about everybody around me? They're all going to think I'm a jerk. Well, this is part of it. Your impact on others, your stance on how you act will affect the stance of your teammates on how they view you. So when you have constructive arrogance and it understands its limits and it's built on the grind, it inspires and motivates those around you. You become a beacon. You become a leader because they don't see you as a jerk. They see you as the guy, the beast, the man, the superhero, the captain. So that's why when you have constructive arrogance and you're confident and you have a strong understanding of yourself, other people begin to mimic and follow you. But when you have destructive arrogance, we know that guy. We all know that guy. And a lot of times he was the best player when he was younger. So people have always just kind of followed him. But then you start watching him fall back to the pack. You start watching him become just another dude. And his arrogance becomes dismissive. His arrogance starts to alienate those around him. His arrogance, he uses it to step on their backs to get above them and hold them down so they don't show that they're better than them. That impact on others is negative. It's destructive. And it's the worst part of that cocky persona because that's the cancer that kills the team. So you got to stay away from that. You got to make sure that you are a beacon. You're not beating down your teammates. And so how do you do that? How do you know you're that guy, that you're not negative? Well, one of the biggest things is your responsiveness to feedback. When your teammates talk to you, when your coaches talk to you, when scouts talk to you, when mom and dad talks to you, are you defensive and resistant? Or are you open and adaptive? Do you take in all the information that's provided and use what you can to further improve yourself? Or do you get really, really mad about it because you don't know me? You don't know what I've been through. You don't know how good I am. Well, if you're defensive and resistant, you're heading down that destructive path. And that destructive path is what alienates the players around you. That dismissiveness is what lets them know that you think of them as something to boost you up, as opposed to something to help grow with you. And that's a huge difference. Open and adaptive players are growing with the people around them, and they're taking in all the negative and all the positive together to build up their persona and to build up their skill tree and to build up their abilities. The destructive individual rages against it. Don't rage against it. So what does this look like? What does this look like when you are this guy? Well, let's talk about baseball. We just had the All-Star game last night. The Home Run Derby was this week. What did you see from the Dominicans? I love the Dominicans because they teeter on that line of arrogance to cockiness, but they use it to their advantage. They are so happy to play the sport. And in a future episode, I'm going to talk about swag and glitz and gear and how that has affected sports. But they wear it with pride. They pound their chest. They're high-fiving. But they're also lifting each other up. They're not doing all this talking and smack talking and things to hold each other down. It doesn't even matter if they're on the same team in the rest of the world. When they're playing baseball together, when they're doing home run derby at the same time, they're giving each other pointers. They might both be hitting in the home run derby, and yet they're giving each other pointers. Now, when a guy flies out to shallow right field, they might be hooting and hollering. But then when he blasts one over the wall, they're pounding their chest for each other. And the guy who hit that home run's coming out of the batter's box going, yeah, baby, I'm that guy. Yeah, baby, I'm that guy. Popping his chain. It's borderline. But is it? No, it's culture. It's persona. It's constructive arrogance. And if you're a really quiet kid, I'm not asking you to go out there and become a Dominican. There's a lot of quiet Dominicans too. You just don't realize they're Dominican. What I'm telling you is, what you want to go out there and do is be the best, most confident, most out there version of you. So that when you walk up to the plate, you got a little strut. When you get into the batter's box and you call time, it's not with your elbow pinched against your side. You've got your arm jutted out towards the umpire. You're demanding time. Yeah, sure, he doesn't have to give it to you. But when you do it with that kind of confidence, you're letting everybody know you control that batter's box. And that helps psych yourself into peak performance. And it tells the guy up on that mound who's getting ready to pitch to you, I am here to dominate you. And that mindset, when backed with preparation, when backed with humility, when backed by a whole dugout that loves the energy you bring, oh man, that is a powerful, powerful tool. So I'm telling you, what you need to do is get out there and build your persona, build your big me, build the constructive arrogance that's going to help differentiate you from the blowhard, cocky jerk. I'm Coach Eric. This has been Unlocked Mental Performance, Physical Results. Build the best you.
The crowd's cheering loud, but it's up to fate. Struck out too many times, doubts creeping in, but he knows in his heart it's time to begin. He remembers the lessons, the words that they say. Keep your head up high, don't let fear lead the way. Act, take a swing, let the battle talk. Chest high, walk the walk. Breathe in deep, let the pressure unlock. You are focused, ready to rock. Commit to the moment, let the past fade away. Get back in the game, you're ready to play. Sun shining bright, he's feeling the heat. With every deep breath, he's back on his feet. Visualizing success, he's got a new plan. With the tools from Play Big, he's a brand new man. He knows it's a journey, not just a quick fix. With patience and practice, he'll find his own mix. Act, take a swing, let the back of the talk. Chest high, walk the walk. Breathe in deep, let the pressure unlock. You are focused, ready to rock. Commit to the moment, let the past fade away. Get back in the game, you're ready to play. Setback's a lesson, every strike's a chance to rise up stronger, to take a new stance. With the crowd on his side, he's ready to show. With the ABCs in his heart, he's ready to go. Act, take a swing, let the back do the talk. Chest high, walk the walk. Breathe in deep, let the pressure unlock. You are focused, ready to rock. Commit to the moment, let the past fade away. Get back in the game, you're ready to play. So here's to the slumps, the struggles we face. With courage and commitment, we'll find our own place. Every new inning is a chance to rise. Chase the champion spirit to the skies. Every new inning is a chance to rise.